The Tampon Story. I had my first serious relationship at 19, let's call him S, but to define it as love would be an exaggeration. My stomach remained perpetually free of butterflies, my eyes free of stars, and my heart never skipped a beat. He clearly had a similar experience devoid of passion. Instead, we'd agreed to a partnership, an alliance of sorts. From that, we'd convinced ourselves, though probably not each other, that chemistry could develop, that a love could spring forth. We were in this being life, together. Except it became apparent that his idea of partnership was for me to pull double shifts, attend college, and keep the house, while he skipped work to dedicate himself to video games and provided unhelpful commentary. His general lacking eroded into comfortable laziness, which hardened into ego-fueled disdain before erupting into violence. He'd made a friend, we'll call him M4.
Meh.
But their relationship mirrored a self-proclaimed all-knowing king and his court jester, the latter being S. Everything M did, S insisted on doing. M only drank Mountain Dew Code Red, I was informed, so S began to only drink that. M really loved Denver omelets, so we needed a lot of those suddenly. If M had asked S to sip his cold bathwater through a silly straw, I'm not convinced S wouldn't have done it. M was not nice to his wife. One day, while S was chatting on the phone with M, we didn't text much back then, it cost money to do that, S vehemently called me names and snickered into the phone. I don't know what was being said on the other side, but I got the distinct impression that M had instigated the already tepid behavior into something icy. M talked about his wife like that, after all, and given the bizarre relationship between this king and his sycophant, I wasn't surprised that M was involved in the rapid building of the wall between us. The rocks had already been lying nearby. Like most self-satisfying boys, M had a chronic issue with people who weren't particularly agog at all his wisdom, of which I was one. This was the beginning of the end between S and me while I put together my exit. No love was lost, but the attempt at a partnership had been a decided failure. S had done nothing to better himself, thwarted opportunities, in fact, and now had aligned himself with a two-person cult. The situation took an outlandish turn when one day S announced I was no longer allowed to use tampons. I blinked at him, dumbfounded. Tampons, he proclaimed, are cheating. This was the final word from the all-knowing man. Interesting, I thought. He still hasn't found the map, much less the territory, and yet he thinks he knows how women's bodies work? Even though I was aghast that he had such audacity, I was more taken aback by the sheer ludicrousness of the insinuation. I did, in fact, try to politely explain to him that this was not the same experience. Surely he just didn't understand, right? My attempts to quell the assumption that tampons are somehow pleasure-inducing went unheard over the louder declaration that I was wrong, he was right, and tampons were forbidden. In the end, I told him to get an education, and proceeded to continue with my personal care as I deemed fit. This resulted in routine peeking at the box under the vanity sink, glaring when it hadn't been moved, as if I'd stored a secret lover next to the less intimidating pads and extra rolls of toilet paper. The box became an enormous source of tension around the apartment. My heart now skipped a beat, but for all the wrong reasons. Every time he went to the sink, every time I had to retrieve my needs, every time we passed by that cabinet. An invisible target had been painted on that door and what was held within. In a short time, S attempted to trap me in a bedroom so that I couldn't leave the apartment to go to my college class. When I escaped, he attempted to hit me. S was significantly larger than me, and as I stared up at his drawn fist, the scowl on his face, I knew that the box of tampons had never been the issue, it had been my refusal to comply with his unreasonable demands. I left. Later, I returned with help to collect some of my things, my cat, my books, my clothes. I also packed my box of tampons. Placing the box in the cabinet of my new place brought a sense of relief that I never would have thought I would associate with feminine supplies. I don't know what became of S. Outside of the tampon story, I have little use of the time or memories from that part of my past. I'm sure to him I'm the villain, and that's all right with me. Maybe he eventually took off his jester hat and grew a life. Or maybe he's out there still being a jerk to women because of his insecurities. Either way, these days I'm safe, happy, and loved, and life can't get much better.